Elden Ring is a hard video game, and these bosses are no joke. When you finally beat a boss after initially getting crushed, then studying its moveset, discovering where you can hurt them, it feels like you've actually achieved something. From Software, the people who made Elden Ring and Dark Souls and Bloodborne and Sekiro, employ a number of tactics to gain the perfect level of difficulty. And sometimes they get it wrong. For the most part, this game is excellent. You can study the bosses and time your attacks so they land crisp right in that punish window, and it feels fantastic. But the developers are not shy of using some sneaky tactics to derail your run.
Oh look, there's another one of those red
Okay. Some would say sneaky, others would call this kind of thing bull. In the base game, it was tolerable. Sure, occasionally you get squished by a giant ball that there is no way you could have known about, but overall, the game feels fair. Then the DLC, Shadow of the Erdtree, came out as an expansion to the base game. This DLC is so enormous, so deep and rich and gorgeous and enigmatic, it is an entire game in and of itself. And let's not beat around the bush, it is a masterpiece. The whole Elden Ring package is an absolute masterpiece. But, and this is a large, voluptuous but, with this DLC, they gone and upped the bullshit. There's BS everywhere here. Teleporting, backstabbing enemies, this horrid maze building, these guys. But the nonsense reaches a climactic peak right at the end, the final boss. For a start, this guy has been resurrected from the dead. His attacks are so hard-hitting, so fast, so definitively unfair. I mean, this comet thing he does, as far as I can tell, it is completely undodgeable.
Right. We're close. There he is here. What? What?
He's weak to almost nothing, glitches your camera every time, and has a boatload of health. Something has to be done about this. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to level the playing field with some of my own BS. There are 3 ways to be better in Elden Ring. You can just get good at the game, you can get better equipment that deals more damage or protects you more, or you can level up. Leveling up makes you stronger, allows you to take more damage, use more weapons, and carry more armor. But leveling in Elden Ring is hard. The price for each additional level in runes increases exponentially. Going from level 1 to level 2 costs just 700 runes, but going from the penultimate level to the maximum level costs 9 million. It is almost impossible to hold that many runes at one time. You'd have to beat the final boss 20 times over to gain that many, and if you die, you lose all your currency. Basically, the game wants you to get to level about 150 and then just stop leveling up, despite the max level being 713. After level about 200, increasing your level becomes so burdensome and has such diminishing returns, the game is basically just saying, listen, that's enough, just get better. However, the game does permit some form of agriculture. If you know this area, welcome back, fellow farmers. Here, we have a bunch of sleeping enemies just awaiting slaughter, right next to a spawn point. You can simply kill these guys, respawn, and repeat, and rack up the runes.
So, these guys here are all just fast asleep. And because this is a reasonably high level area of the game, you can just kill them. So, this guy here, fast asleep. 2,000 runes per kill. However, if I use this sword here, which you get actually, ironically, by completing the base game, I can kill all of them and get 42,000 runes per cycle. Like, you can just reset, run back, And those guys are all just respawned, ready to be slaughtered with this sword. So that's we got 100,000 runes already, which naively you might think that is a lot, but if I go to status, that the runes needed for one additional level is 246,000 at this point. So it takes a while to do this. So let's just do some calculations here. I have to kill 800,000 of those guys to reach the max level. So there's about 15 of them here. So per run, let's say we can get 40,000. That's about the average. So that's 40,000 runs. Assuming each one takes me 10 seconds, let's divide that by... It would still take me 111 hours. Like, if I did this absolutely perfectly every single time to get to the max level. The game is clearly designed so that when you get to a certain point, it just doesn't want you to level up anymore. It just wants you to get better at the game and just play the game.
To do this for 100 or 120 hours would be mind-numbing. That's like doing this as a full-time job for 2.5 weeks straight. But with all that sweet, sweet cash, 1.6 billion runes, you could have maximum health, maximum stamina, maximum FP, maximum equipment load. You could probably run through bosses like a hot knife through butter. But who's got 100+ hours to spare just to farm runes? Well, who says I have to do it?
What if, instead of manually farming 1.6 billion runes, I could build a machine to do it for me? A machine that plays Elden Ring whilst I sleep and just murders enemies for hours and hours on end. That's it. That's how I'm going to even the playing field. I'm going to get my character to the max level. But there are some stipulations.
I am a man with a moral code. I don't want to simply cheat. At least not from the game's perspective. I want to operate within the rules of the game. So here are some of the statutes that I must adhere to. No software running on the PC or Xbox or whatever, except Elden Ring. No sneaky extra code running in the background. No modifying hardware like mice or keyboards or controllers. It's got to be stock everything. And no mods to the actual game. It has to be vanilla Elden Ring plus its DLC. Essentially, the game has to believe that I'm just some sad act sitting farming runes for 100 hours straight. So the entire PC, hardware and software must be standard. Basically what I'm saying is, I have to build a robot. So here we go. This is day 1, hour 0.
So we need to build a robot that plays Elden Ring. The first problem to be solved is clearly, how do you push a button or a key? I had an idea that I could use solenoids. These are like little mechanical fingers. When you apply a voltage, they can push stuff. Solenoids can famously be found in pinball machines, but also everywhere, like car doors and hydraulic valves. I bought the smallest one I could find since it only needs to press a single key on a keyboard. But buying small was a bad idea.
That is toasty. Oh, that's too hot to hold.
We may also have some other wiring issues.
Excellent build quality on these solenoids.
The solution was a bigger solenoid and using less power. But in order to control power, I need to use a switch, or in this case, a transistor.
I'm going to turn on and off the solenoids with this. This is a transistor, it's a MOSFET. I think there's 19 billion of these in the newest iPhone chip. Obviously, they're a lot smaller. I'm going to use these as switches to control each of the solenoids to switch them on and off. And I can control this with the Arduino.
And after lots of faff, we have our mechanical finger.
That's not hot at all.
And it can press a key on a keyboard.
Yeah, that'll work nice.
Next, we need a way to mount these so that they can hover over the keyboard. Now I could learn to weld and build some frame to hold the solenoid over the keys, or become a carpenter and build something out of wood, or I could model something and 3D print it. if I had a printer. But then I realised I've been 3D printing stuff without a printer since I was 8 years old.
This is my basic idea. This goes over the keyboard, so the keyboard can slide in here. And then the solenoid will be glued onto this somehow, and it'll push the key. And I think we can give it like a better base with one of these. Should be able to fine tune the height of the solenoid by just adding thinner blocks on. I think not the way to do this. Am I gonna blow something up here? Yeah! That's definitely pushing that down. Weight it down a little bit. That should be better. Yeah, look at that, works so well. So all I need is 6 more solenoids, all mounted on the Lego, and then some code to time my gameplay, and we should be done.
Now, we need 6 buttons as a minimum to farm in Elden Ring, which means I need 6 sets of electronics. This montage makes it look like I know what I'm doing, but I blew up 4 of these transistors by getting this wrong. These diodes stop current flowing the wrong way when the solenoids are switched off, and these resistors make sure the voltage goes to 0 when the system is off, so off means off. Then, each switch or transistor is simply plugged into the Arduino. After that, the 6 solenoids are installed on the Lego frame, and with some minor height tweaking, we have built a robot that can press keys on a keyboard.
Alright, the build is complete, and it's a bit janky, have a look. This is a little switch just to stop and start the program, so I can, if it's going wrong, I can stop it. And it's not, you can see it's not actually glued to the desk, but it is quite stable. The Arduino is not connected to this PC. It should just run by itself, not connected to that PC. So that code there is just running through each solenoid, just testing if it actually pushes down and presses the key, which it does. But that is not playing Elden Ring. So now we need to fire up Elden Ring and see if we can time those key presses so that it farms for me, and make it robust enough so that I don't die and lose all the progress I made. I'm also a bit concerned that Elden Ring has some sort of system in it that checks for like exactly the same key presses repeated over and over again, and like kicks you out of the game for cheating, even though I don't regard this as cheating because it's a robot. Alright, so I'm taking a guess at what you need to do. So you need to run forward for about 2 seconds, then run left for about half a second, then forward again, then you need to attack, which is T.
To convert a Lego set that mindlessly mashes keys into a rune farming robot, all that is required is to perfect the timing of the solenoids to loop the farming action over and over and over. And surprisingly, this was extremely easy to do.
This one is this code is a little bit better. So forward, left, forward. Yes, that's it. That's the maximum amount of runes. So 212,000. I can't actually believe how quickly it took me to just perfect the little button presses so that this actually works. But this robot is farming for me right now. Okay, I just went for a coffee. I've come back. It's about an hour. And we have farmed 10 million runes. Which is loads. The game has not booted me out yet, so I don't think Elden Ring has a system for detecting like identical inputs just running for hours and hours and hours. So I think I can leave this indefinitely. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to leave it to run till tomorrow morning. Hopefully the solenoids don't burn out, that everything stays intact, and I should have about 90 million runes by the time I get home. Thank God I built this in the studio, not in the house, because this noise is terrible. Okay, so it's been 26 hours, I got a little bit held up, I left it running this whole time, and amazingly, nothing has failed. Elden Ring hasn't kicked me out, the Lego hasn't broken, the solenoids haven't burnt out, the Arduino hasn't tripped up, and I have 182 million runes to spend. Unfortunately, I need 1.6 billion to max out, so that is about 10 days. Yeah. 10 times what I've just done. So I'm just going to let this run and check on it every day, make sure nothing has went wrong, and just keep on farming. Holy mackerel, look at this number here. 996 million. This wee guy has been farming absolutely non-stop, and we are at an incredible almost 1 billion runes. You can only hold 999,999,999 runes. So what happens when you get more than that? I'm not sure if anyone's actually ever tried, because anyone in their right mind would take all these runes and just immediately level up so that you have none left, so that if you die you don't lose any. Oh, I think we did it. I think we did it. What happens now? What happens now? We maxed out. We maxed out. What happens now? Nothing happens. So you don't get any runes. Well, that was slightly anticlimactic. When you hit 999,999,999 runes, you just, when you kill something, you just don't get any more runes. It doesn't add it to your total. So you just stay at just one under a billion runes. But a billion runes still isn't enough to level up all the way. So I need to level up, burn those runes, and then continue. We're going to farm another 600 million and max this out. Good job, little robot. You did a fantastic job. So the rune farming robot was a success. It successfully farmed 1.6 billion runes for me. So I'm going to play this on my good PC at home and see what it's like to play with a fully maxed out level. Now, with a maxed out character, it's time to walk through the final boss like he's nothing. Come at me, bro. Like, that is unavoidable. Like, how do you avoid that? Perhaps I simply wasn't warmed up. God, that's such bullshit. Run away from these. Dodge towards them. Like, what? Well, this episode's a story of success and failure.
Stupid camera. Sure, you can make a robot that can play Elden Ring for you. Like, how am I supposed to work with that camera? How can I work with that camera? That's impossible. And you can use it to farm enough runes to reach the max level. What? What? Not this time, you f***hole. But if you suck, this game will humble you, regardless of what you do. Yes! You yes! Oh, Jesus. Had to use the shield and everything. Like, had to go full on noob mode, had to top up all the health. There you go. Elden Ring. Bullshit no matter what you do.
If you're like me and prefer learning through problem solving and by doing, like I did in this video, as opposed to reading or simply watching a lecture, then you should check out this week's sponsor, Brilliant. Brilliant is the learning platform where you learn by doing. They have thousands of interactive lessons in maths, data analysis, programming, or AI. Each lesson is filled with hands-on problem solving that lets you interactively play with the concepts. This helps you build critical thinking skills through problem solving, not memorization, which clearly, in my opinion, is the most effective way to learn. Something I wanted to highlight was Brilliant's programming courses, which are a super easy way to build your programming foundations and learn real-world applications. What I love is that you can start building programs on day one with a built-in drag-and-drop editor. You'll learn essential coding elements from loops and variables to nesting and conditionals. My code for this robot that I built in this episode is very simple, but these are the things I use to code it, the foundational programming concepts. All of Brilliant's content is made by an award-winning team of teachers, researchers and professionals from MIT, Caltech, Duke, Microsoft, Google and more, so you know you're getting a quality learning experience. So whether you are studying for an exam, brushing up on existing knowledge, or just learning so you can build a robot that farms billions of runes on Elden Ring, Brilliant has you covered. Visit brilliant.org/Mike Boyd or scan the QR code on screen now to try everything Brilliant has to offer for free for a full 30 days. Using that link, you'll also get 20% off an annual subscription. Thank you very much to Brilliant for supporting the channel, and thanks to you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.